Kristina, just walk us back to what the new strategy McDonald's is embarking on. What has it articulated?
Right. So as you mentioned, for years, McDonald's was actually shuttering on net new stores. Between 2015 and 2021, they closed a net of more than 900 McDonald's. Many of them were inside Walmart. And over that time, the pandemic happened and people started to move more to the suburbs and the exurbs. And McDonald's realized that there were customers out there that it wasn't capturing. Their goal is to be within a 5-minute drive of as many people as possible. So what we've seen in recent years is a multi-billion-dollar global expansion where they're opening new restaurants in places where they've determined will be a fruitful spot for them to reach more of these exurban and suburban residents.
That is incredible, this idea that McDonald's has not reached saturation in certain parts of the U.S. market. Why is this happening right now in 2025?
Yeah, I think it's been since the pandemic, they're following this population migration. For example, a state like Texas has seen 2 million new residents since 2020. And so McDonald's is looking at places like Dallas and the suburbs ringing Dallas as new location, perfect spots for them to build new locations. And in fact, they've built more than 40 locations in the Dallas area since 2020.
Yeah, you traveled to North Texas, the areas north of Dallas, all those suburbs that are spread out along the highway for this story. What do people think about the explosion of McDonald's there?
It's a complicated topic, as is the sort of general growth in that area. Many people moved out beyond the Dallas city limits to be around farmland, to be in sort of more wide open spaces, to not have as much traffic. At the same time, it's convenient to have a McDonald's near you. I talked to a bunch of parents who were taking their kids to dance practice and, all the normal things that parents do. And it's convenient to be near a restaurant like McDonald's. Also, when McDonald's comes, other restaurants often follow. So in general, I think people were wary of recreating the full big business atmosphere that they had been trying to escape. And at the same time, there were many people grateful to have life a little easier, a little more convenient, able to go through a drive-through and get nuggets on your way to dance practice.
Yeah, makes sense. You mentioned something that struck me as interesting. Is McDonald's an early bird or is it a latecomer to this idea that it's going to plant roots across these master plan communities in northern Texas?
Often in many cities that are experiencing rapid growth, McDonald's is one of the first businesses. And in this instance, they're playing a little bit of catch up. They're not always the first business to open their doors. I talked to a realtor in Texas who said McDonald's is often 8 to 10 years ahead of the wave. And in this case, they're not quite that early. But at the same time, these towns in North Texas are experiencing incredibly rapid growth. And these McDonald's are well positioned to take advantage of much of that growth that has not yet actually happened.
Okay, you talked about how people inevitably will end up going to McDonald's because it's convenient, it's there.
Yeah.
How are the new stores doing overall?
It's tricky to know for sure. McDonald's doesn't release a lot of data specific to the new stores. We looked at some third-party data that showed that there wasn't quite as much traffic in these new stores as some of the older established stores in denser areas. McDonald's says that's pretty normal, that often happens and that they catch up in the next 2 to 3 years.